So recently, I joined the Black Plasma Studios SMP and founded the Fekrador clan. By now, I had already found myself 3 allies, X-Dino-X, Dibster Plays, and R309. Gradually we rose, but unfortunately, not everyone was on our side. One day I found that Fadeless Banjo, a friend of mine, had claimed my land without my permission. He was subjecting us under his rule, at least as far as I was aware. Of course, I wasn't going to stand for it, so I began searching of a way to free my clan. As soon as I could, I got in contact with Dibster and R3, my closest allies at the time. Both of them agreed that this was pretty terrible news. The possibility of a revolution was indeed entertained. However, I decided it may not be a good idea for now. Fade was certainly more powerful than any of us, and he must have had allies of his own. So after my initial shock, I decided maybe staying on his good side for now would be the best idea. At the end of the day, I did not want war. I had always wanted peace. So unless Fade was the one to start a war, there wasn't going to be one. There was just one problem though. I didn't really have a way of resolving this conflict without, well, conflict. Fade had come into my base and claimed the land. Obviously he wasn't just going to give it up, right? But that's when an idea manifested in my head. What if I gave up the base, let him have it, and moved closer to my allies? In fact, this would be a win-win situation for the both of us. I would build a house in between R3's house and Dibster's house, which meant I would have closer connections to my allies and Fade would have the land he wanted. So at the end of the day, this seemed like the perfect idea for stopping a conflict. So I reached out to Fade on Discord, and he seemed to agree. All was well and good for the time being. I wasn't sure if all conflict had been avoided, but this was definitely progress in the right direction. Graciously, I had given Fade my old land. If he was willing to respect my clan's new territory, there would be no further problems between us. Or so I thought. Anyhow, just as I expected, tensions calmed down. And with that, I began building my new house right in between my 2 main allies. Soon, I finished my house, and then I moved to take all my items from my old base and move them to my new house. It took quite a while, but once I was done, I tore down everything, leaving only a mine in its place. My new base actually looked quite a lot better than the old one, so to put it simply, I was happy. And so was everyone else, it seemed. Anyway, one day, R3 told me he was going to look for a woodland mansion, for he had acquired a map, and he offered me to join him, which I agreed to. Gearing up as best we could, we ventured out for the woodland mansion. I took about 5 of my dogs with me, but sometime along the journey, they just randomly disappeared. They may have died in a creeper explosion, I honestly don't remember what happened. Nonetheless, it's still very tragic. Oh yeah, did I ever mention how I bred basically a dog army of my own? You know, just in case. You gotta have those precautions, you know what I mean? Anyhow, R3 and I adventured into the wilderness for many thousands of blocks. Unfortunately, we found no woodland mansion, but we did find a pillager outpost. After fighting with the pillagers for a little while, I had acquired a few banners and a nice crossbow. Having found nothing else, R3 and I eventually returned to spawn. I was met with an unpleasant surprise. Apparently, I had killed a pillager captain at the outpost, which meant that a raid had started at the spawn village. Not wanting to deal with this for now, I decided to hole myself up in my house and wait it out. The next day, when I logged on, the problem had already been dealt with. It was a little bit of a shame because I honestly wanted to see what I could do by myself, but oh well, I can't complain too hard. I went on a couple nether expeditions, got some XP from quartz ore, everything was going smoothly, but then I got alerted of something. Something interesting. Not good, not bad, but just interesting. I found out that Dibster Plays, one of my best allies, had infiltrated Fade's base without even letting anyone know, including our own clan. Now, you see, Dibster posted a video of what he'd found, so thankfully, I was able to use it to see what Fade's base looked like, especially from the inside. Now, because of land claims, Dibster could not get into the base normally, so instead, he waited for one of Fade's allies, Tankbreaker, to open the door for him before dashing inside. Dibster began to explore the base. Tank ran after him, trying to inflict damage upon him, but he only had iron armor, whereas Dibster had netherite. It was hopeless. Tank could not stop Dibster. He'd already explored a good chunk of Fade's base, and when he was done, he returned to spawn. Now, I didn't know what to feel about this. On the one hand, it was helpful intel about Fade, but on the other hand, Dibster's actions were incredibly reckless. He'd gone behind my back and done this. He hadn't even informed me. Right after we were working towards a peace deal with Fade, he went and provoked him. I knew Fade wasn't happy now that he'd figured out Dibster had infiltrated his base. When Tankbreaker was online, I decided to have a little chat with him, see what I could do to compensate for what had happened. I explained that I had nothing to do with Dibster's infiltration, which was true. He said I'd have to talk to Fade. So I made a mental note of that. I would talk to Fade later. I was not going to go to war with him, not after the progress we'd made to peace. We were on the cusp of an agreement. We could have had our territory respected, and we could have respected them. While I trusted Dibster, and he was a good ally, and definitely the most stacked of us with full netherite, I was worried about him at the same time. He was becoming impulsive, he was becoming too ambitious, and I know I too was ambitious in my own right, but unlike him, I wasn't going to sacrifice the safety of myself and others, all to fight in a hopeless war. At the end of the day, I would not fight Fadeless Banjo, not unless he threatened me or my friends first. Now, while progress was going good, it wasn't going very fast. I needed someone who really knew how to play Minecraft, more than me even. Because the thing you need to know about my gameplay, well, to say the least, it's stuck in like 2013. I don't know how to create farms whatsoever. I just play the game normally, and no one does that anymore. So I needed someone efficient. I needed a new ally, someone I could trust more than Dibster, more than R3, certainly more than anyone else on the server. He was none other than my brother, Jake. Now, Jake played on Bedrock, but also, so did Dibster. This server was cross-compatible, so after a lot of trials and tribulation, I finally got Jake added to the server. With my brother by my side, hopefully, we would accomplish more than ever before. But that is where it ends for today. If you enjoy these videos, feel free to like and subscribe so you can be notified when I make more of them. With that out of the way though, have a great day, I'll see you next time, goodbye.